All right, everybody. So we are on the way to pick up the newest mod to the 300, and it is going to be the front end splitter, as you guys probably already know. For whatever reason, they just wouldn't drop it off at the porch, so it's at the post office, and we've got to go pick it up at the post office. I find that a little funny. I had $1,300 rims get dropped off at the porch, but this damn front end splitter can't be dropped off at the porch. So figured I'd drop in, give you guys some footage of the car driving. We haven't done that yet on the channel, but there's more to come in store. Let me close this. But yeah, man, I was super excited to get this mod, get it installed on the front of the car. And this is a cheap option. I'm going with a cheap option. And the reason being is because I have thoughts to doing my own front end splitter, a custom one, that is. I'll insert a photo up here. And that's pretty much my inspiration for the new splitter. I love that Batmobile, and I have a model of it in my studio on my desk, so I see it quite often. And one day I was just going through looking for splitters to put on the car, and I just I never really fell quite in love with anything. And for me, that moment has to happen for me to buy it and put it on my car. I have to be like, oh, that's the one. Like when I found my rims just like, they jumped off the page at me. They're like one of the very first rims that I saw, and they were a little bit outside of my price range that I was intending to spend on rims. But when I saw them, they jumped out at me. Those were the ones. And even though I tried to shop for other things, other similar things, I couldn't quite find anything else to suit it. So that same experience never really happened with the front end splitter. So this front end splitter, I like it, but like I said, it's a cheap option. It's just a universal splitter. And there is an ulterior motive to that. I'm gonna put it on the car, and I'm gonna see how it looks on the car for a while. But really, what it's there for is to help me get like dimensions and stuff, because I'm fairly certain that I want to go ahead and make a custom splitter. So this is kind of like a Fitbit test. I'll be able to have dimensions for making one. But yeah, like the front of that Batmobile, getting back to that point, when I was shopping for a front end splitter and nothing jumped off of the page for me, I just kind of glanced over and I was looking at the Batmobile model on my desk, and then I noticed that oh my gosh, it has a Batman splitter. I was like, look at that splitter. Wouldn't that be cool? Wouldn't it be cool if somebody, fabricated those and were selling those? I've just been looking around, and I've been taking notice of people who are making their own front end splitters and their own side skirts. Now, I don't know so much about making my own side skirt. I think I'm just gonna buy those. But after the front end splitter goes, we'll see. Who knows? That might be a future mod coming as well. But yeah, regardless, we are on the way to the post office now. Pick it up, and yeah, we're gonna get this thing installed for you. Yeah, I know that the theme is Gotham Hemi, and you know, usually you'll see me wearing Batman gear, but today you notice that I am wearing Black Panther. And quite honestly, you might see me wearing a lot more Black Panther. For context, Chadwick Boseman passed away yesterday, and man, it really had me shook. I was at work when the news met me. I was at my computer at work, and on my internet browser homepage, it'll cycle through stories, and usually there are a whole bunch of, you know, gimmicky type stories, you know, oh, so and so did this, but then you'll read the article and it's just a bunch of BS, man. So when I first saw it, I was like, oh man, this is some terrible writing, or, you know, they're spinning some words, or, you know, it's gonna turn out he died in some movie and they're trying to, you know, make headlines like that. And then I actually read it, and man, I just froze. Like, the whole world around me just, it stopped. I had so much respect for that man, not just because of, you know, the movies that he did, particularly Black Panther, but because I paid a lot of attention to him off the screen as well. And, you know, I likened him, you know, he was such an inspiration. He was a hero before he passed. And catching the news that he passed was, you know, as far as for everybody, was such a surprise. And then, you know, in the coming hours, finding out that he knew what he was going through, and that he refused to stop doing what he was doing because he knew what he was doing meant so much to the cultural movement, man. Like, he was already a hero. He went from a hero to a legend. And you know, it's weighing heavy on my mind, heavy on my heart today. We lost a king. We definitely lost a king. Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. Wakanda forever. Yeah, but anyways, we made it to the post office, so time to mask up. You know, Washington's got to mask up. Washington is 100% illegal to go out in public without a mask. So we're gonna go mask up and go get this thing. All right, so we're out of the post office now. Got the front end splitter. Let's take it on home. All right, everybody, so we are back in the studio. Got the front end splitter here. Gonna go ahead and give an unboxing for you guys. Before we get into it, I don't remember the brand on the splitter. It was $50. I'll have the links down in the description below. Like I said, it's just a cheap option. Doing something cheap because I do plan on customizing. And then not only that, but I didn't actually have to go out of pocket for it. Long story short, we have a program at work that, you know, through health insurance, that if we're staying healthy, we get points, and we can redeem points for Amazon gift cards. So I had enough to go ahead and pick up the splitter. Like I said, customizing it, not expecting it to be out of the box, you know, something that I want. So gonna go ahead and customize it. It does come with hardware in the box, but I went ahead and went to Lowe's and picked up some of my own hardware, because the hardware that it comes with is self-tapping screws, and yes, self-tapping screws in, you know, a plastic bumper, just no, I mean, I'd rather this thing stay on. So just got some bolts, washers, and some washer spacers.
these washer spacers are actually going to be pretty important. And I'll have all this stuff linked down in the description below as well. But on the bottom of the Chrysler 300 bumper, it is not flush all the way across, at least not on the 2013, 2014, 2012, 13, and 14 edition. If you look at it, it starts and then it has a lip right in the middle, which is actually great for a front end splitter, because what the splitter is supposed to do is split that air and have air go up into the engine bay. So that lip that's there is going to be great. But yeah, you guys have probably seen on Instagram, if you follow a whole bunch of people on Instagram, sometimes their front end splitters will bow in the middle. They'll kind of bow upwards in the middle. And that's because they're not properly installing it. It's because the bumper will probably have a lip under there and they're just screwing it straight in through to the bumper. You gotta leave that gap there. If you don't leave that gap, then there's no room for the air to do its thing. So at that point, it just becomes a cosmetic mod, which, you know, I'm not trashing. I think about 90% of people who install a front end splitter on their vehicle are doing it for cosmetic purposes anyway. Me, you know, when I know what its function is to do, even if it is for cosmetic purposes, I still want it to look right. So, and then that bow in the front end splitter is just, it's always looked ridiculous to me. So, yeah, I'll show you how to install those and everything. Go ahead, get this thing unboxed and see what we're working with. Some instructions. Oh great, the instructions show a Honda. But we're definitely not installing it on a Honda. And this is going to bridge the gap between the two of them. I'm thinking about how I'm going to finish this. I think I'm going to wrap it in black carbon fiber. I want to do the edges red, so I might paint this first. I might scuff it up, paint it, get completely red, similar to how I did my front end splitter, and then I'll do the top in carbon fiber. But we'll see. Basically, this is a universal splitter. So how it's gonna work is it's got the two sides pieces that we're gonna put on the car first, and then this is going to go on top of it. And basically, you can secure it at any angle for, you know, a full splitter look. Like I said, this is gonna be heavily modified. I mean, this whole piece right here is probably gone, but we're gonna install it so that I can see what the fitment looks like, so that I know exactly what I'm going to be working with when I do get the custom materials in and start working on that custom piece. So, all right, let's get it. All right, so I've got all three pieces painted. There we go. So just the front's going to be painted. The top is going to be wrapped in carbon fiber, which is what I'm about to do right now. As you can see, I've already placed the knifeless tape along the edges so that I can have a nice clean seam. Well, yeah, I got some leftover carbon fiber from the roof wrap, and go ahead and get this thing all two-toned out.
starting to do the install, I did decide to go with self-tapping screws for ease of use.
All right, so I'm about to drill the first hole in, and basically I'm just doing one so that it will hold it in place. So I'm gonna eyeball it, make sure that it's in a good spot where I like it, and then I'll be able to adjust it like this as I go. I think right there, it's a good look.
Working with the self-tapping screws, I decided to pre-drill into the splitter. That way it was a little bit easier when I went to attach it to the bottom of the car. As you can see, I'm drilling very slow as necessary because the finish of the splitter is very smooth and there's not a lot of grip for the screw to catch. So take it nice and easy. If you try to go too fast, you're just gonna pop the screw out and have a frustrating time. One thing that's going to be important is when you're attaching it to make sure that your fitment's proper. So right here, you're going to see me check multiple times to make sure that the piece is flush with the inside of the fender. And as well, I'm going to be checking how far it pokes out from the sidewell of the car. At this point, I'm not going to be too concerned about pivot left and right because I'm going to be putting a single screw in there and leaving it a little loose. That way we can adjust as we go.
All right, so the next portion of this mod is going to be a little difficult without two pairs of hands. So cue beautiful wife. Second pair of hands. All right, so down here underneath Gotham Hemi, and I'm really fighting right now to do everything I can not to take this bumper off right now. It's getting me into a little bit of a situation. This probably would have been best if I removed the bumper, but we're gonna keep pushing on. I figured out a way to do it, but basically right now, if I flip the camera around and let you see. So right here, that's this standoff right here. I drilled a hole underneath. You can see the screw. It's going up through here. I thought there was going to be a lot more room above here. And I've got to do the same thing over here on that side. But basically, I thought there was a lot more room in there where I was going to put the head of the screw down. There's not a whole lot of room back there. So I'm going up and I'm having to reach around and get the nut secured back that way. But that's where we're at right now. Keep on pushing, get this thing attached.
as you can see, I've got a little bit of damage there. I'm fairly certain that the previous owner of this car had it lowered before they turned it in, and you know, it just looks like, you know, that bumper caught on something, and you know, unfortunately pulled off a little damage on there. So what I'm gonna do, if I can pull this off for you. Hold up, D. You gonna say hi, D? Say hi. This is D-Dub. All right, buddy. Let me get back to the video. Plan is to attack it right here, right where that fold. See, that's where the lip is at. If you can see that, if I'm pulling that off correctly. If this bulge, see that, if the bulge gets taken care of, it'll look all right. So my plan is to hit it with a self-tapping screw right here, right there where the bulge is, to screw it up and into the skid plate, and hopefully that should take care of it like that. You live and you learn, right? You live and you learn. I know that those are some messed up words to be talking about on a car channel, fresh after a mod, but it's really not that bad. You know, you live and you learn. And what I'm talking about is, oof, right there. Man, we had that thing looking good, and now Gotham Hemi looks like a punched out boxer. You know? But it's all good. It's all good, guys. It's not the mod itself. Basically what happened is, you know, I have a 3-year-old son, and you know, he's very keen on whenever I do a mod to the car, he's got to check it out, you know. So I'm inside the studio getting ready to go to work, and he's, you know, looking at the car, looking at the new front end splitter on it, and I hear him say, "It's so good, it's so good." Which for me, as the parent, that should be a cue word. That's a key phrase. That means he's about to start interacting with whatever it is that he's looking at, whatever he thinks is so good, he's about to interact with it. I'm thinking more along the lines of getting ready for work, getting out on time, so I ignore him. Next thing I hear is a whole bunch of I'm like, oh no. Run out, and basically what do I see? I see him stepping down from this side right here. So basically he tried to use the front end splitter as a step to try to get on top of the car, because, you know, he's a child, and why not, you know, bless his heart. That's not where it really went wrong. You know, I heard all the cracking and everything, and I went over to it and I inspected it, and it was still on. So I left it on. Went to work just fine. On the way back from work is when I hear it. And I even inspected it a little bit. I inspected it before getting in the car to come back home, and I could see a little bit of sag, but I thought it was okay. It wasn't okay. Like I said, you live and you learn. You know, that it managed to work itself free by doing about, I'm gonna say 80 on the highway, and it might have been a little faster, but for obvious reasons we'll go with 80. And then I start hearing the dragging. So but like I said though, living and learning with the install,
before I did the install, I said that I wanted to do, I didn't want to use self-tapping screws. I wanted to use, threaded screws with nuts and bolts. So I didn't go that route. I did use the screw-in routes just because when I got under there, it was a little bit more work than I wanted to do. But yeah, that was my first mistake, because if you see, if you're looking right there, let me get a close up. So the standoffs that I used with nuts and bolts, those are still good. This side right here, this one right here, basically where he stepped, if this was a self-tapping screw, that would have ripped off as well, but it didn't, so it's still in there. And as you can see, the standoffs for my rods are still good and well and intact. So, like I said, just a matter of living and learning. I've already got another one on the way. Gotham Hemi's just gonna have to, get all of the photos from one side for the next 2 weeks that it takes for the new one to get here. But as soon as it gets here, fix it all up, get it fully mounted and reinstalled, and she's gonna be back like she never left.